My name is Dana Sue Walker. I am a volunteer of the Junior League of Tulsa Incorporated. I am conducting this interview this 26th day of March 1980 with Lewis Meyer at the Lewis Meyer Bookstore, exclusively for the Junior League of Tulsa's Historic Preservation Project. Mr. Myers is going to be discussing his early days in radio in Tulsa. But first, how did you happen to come to Tulsa and become interested in radio?
Well, I'm a lawyer. I'm a member of the bar, and I had a law office in Sapulpa. And I started doing lectures and book reviews at Brown-Dunkin, a department store here, twice a week it was. And then Brown-Dunkin sent me all over this part of the country. I would do as much as 20 or 25 lectures and book reviews a month. They gave me, with their compliments, to any group that would guarantee a crowd of 300 people. And I went into Kansas, Arkansas, all over this area with there, and it helped to build their mail order department. So then, from that, I just went into radio for Brown-Dunkin first. I was on for about 17 years on KVOO for Brown-Dunkin, 15 minutes a day. And then I branched out, and at one point I was on 2.5 hours a day. I bought my own time on shows and sold it to sponsors.
Were you doing what type of thing? Book reviews and that sort of thing?
Oh, well, the book reviews were part of it. The show was called The Values We Live By, and I think that kind of names it, you know. I just did all types of shows, interview shows, books, and then I had sponsors, you see, through the store. Berkshire Stockings sponsored the book reviews for, I guess, about 15 years every Friday.
And so what did you get
Elizabeth
into?
Arden did poetry. I did poetry every day. Every Wednesday was poetry day, and I did Elizabeth like that, you see.
What was those early radio studios like, and what year was that?
Well, the radio studios of yesterday were just exactly like they are today, and that we at the KVOO then was in the Phil Tower building. And
what year was that you started in radio?
I don't know. It was around 1940, 41.
So you had at first a 15-minute program.
Well, I did a 15-minute program for Brown-Dunkin every day.
And then you branched out.
Well, then I did it. I had an hour on what they called KOME. That station's not in existence anymore. And I had an hour on KAKC, and then I was on KTUL for an hour.
What were some of the people you worked with back when you first started?
You mean on KVOO? Well, there was Tubby Young, who's still around, and
what did he do?
Ruth DeVore. Tubby Young was the music librarian and the union representative, and he was very popular. You really ought to talk to him.
Tubby
Young.
Yeah.
I think he's recently. I don't know. I think he's still over there at KVOO.
Okay, and then who else was doing programs with you? I mean, not necessarily on your show.
Oh, I see. Well, Al, they had a lot of Johnny Lee Wills, of course, was very big then, and Johnny Lee Wills was my friend. And I wrote I did a couple of records that Johnny Lee Wills recorded. And he was playing at Kane's Academy.
You mean played them on your show? Is that what you mean?
No, I wrote them.
Oh!
I've written 7 books, too.
Yes, well, I knew that you were a book author. I didn't realize.
I've written, yes, and did The Coyote Blues was a big hit. And let me see, my first date with my wife, she was from Paris, France, and she was visiting her brother here, and I was then doing a night show on KOME, 45 minutes. I would buy the time and sold it to sponsors, and so after that show then, I took her to Kane's Academy, where Johnny Lee was playing, and every time I would walk in, they would start playing the Coyote Blues, and she was terrified, but it worked out just fine.
When you had your first radio job, give me the mechanics of how you went about doing it. I mean, like
I did all my things from scripts. I wrote the entire script, commercials, and every word I said. That's in my opinion. This is what's wrong with radio today. The great American ad lib. It's terrible. And I wrote everything from script. It's more work, but then you know what you're doing. And I went, and after writing it from script, I would then go over it aloud, emphasizing words. And when I got on the air, it was a finished performance.
So it sounded very casual and conversational, but
that's the only way. That's the only way it can.
Sure.
When you're ad-libbing is when it sounds just awful. And then, but there's so many people today, and of course, as I've gone around the country and been interviewed, many people will say, "We'll just do it off the top of our heads," and I say, "I don't like that, because it's never as good." If you'll sit down with someone and talk about your questions in advance and how you would like to go, and think it's always better. Any rehearsal makes anything better. Any rehearsal
is better, right? Try to think of some other people that you worked with, and
Ruth DeVore. She was in Traffic. She was Ruth Graber, Graber, and then she married Tom DeVore, who was also at the station.
Now, what was her capacity as Traffic? That meant regulating the programs, what went on when, and so forth.
And Joe O'Neill was there. And Martha Stewart was the receptionist, Stewart. She's in town here now. She would probably have many more memories than I would have there. She knew them all, and but her memory is very alert. Her father
did you work with Ben Henneke?
Ben Henneke was on the station at the time, but he just had his show, his Back to College show.
Well, because
he was an announcer. Ben Henneke was an announcer too when I was there. Yes, I remember.
Well, because he is the one who said, "Oh, be sure and get Lewis Meyer. It just won't be complete without him."
Well, yes, Ben was there, and I know there was an old Latin teacher in Sapulpa who was constantly getting after Ben for his grammar and his diction and some of his pronunciation. And there was one word in particular, and I always think of Ben when I hear it. Anyway, she was a source of discomfort. But Ben was, yes, and then he went on up, yes.
When I talk to people that have been in any kind of media, they're always playing jokes on each other and trying to disrupt people when they're on the air. Did anything like that?
Very seldom, no. It was all very professional.
Very professional.
It was very professional, always, and it was just work. But Patty Page came into being when I was on KVOO, and she used to come up to the studio. She was singing. Glenn Hardman was there, and she was singing to the organ on KTUL, I think for $15 a week, and I immediately saw that she had a great talent. And we just had like a Patty Page fan club, and she would come up to my program at KVO, and she'd stand outside and she'd watch outside the glass. And so I told her one day, I said, Clara Ann, is her name, Fowler, I said, if I had any guts, I'd stop what I'm doing and I would become your manager, because you could go to the top. Well, I didn't have what it took, but she got someone who did. But she had a great talent.
What do you have any particular remembrance that stands out of the most interesting story you did or interview you did?
There's one person I should mention. That was Lil Smithline and Glenn Hardman. Those were both organists. Most of my shows for Brown-Dunkin were done with an organ background playing for the poems and for the background too, and they would just play as I would talk. They could use a lot more shows like that today, really.
What, I guess you got into
everything. Everything on my poetry day. I would have on for great poets' birthdays, Robert Frost and Elizabeth Barrett Browning. I do their whole lives in terms of their poems, and then I had many days of comedy. I remember once I was selling for Elizabeth Arden Reminiscence cream, and I took a bath in Reminiscence and grew younger and younger and younger until I was finally just a baby. But I always did. I mixed it up. Well, stay on 17 years for a tough department store, you know.
Yes.
But my ratings were always very good, and I enjoyed it. Then I went to television 26 years ago.
Did you review cultural events in Tulsa at all?
That I did on other stations. I used to review the evening paper on when I on KOME. I was on from I think 4 to 5 every day for an hour and played records, a disc jockey type show. And then I had a show called Nuts About the Girls on. I would buy this time and sell it. It was a very profitable and very good business. And you'd buy their time like paying rent. Then you go out and sell to your sponsors, you see.
What, do they do that the same way now? Or
No,
is
they
it
don't.
a whole different...
They said that the stations frowned on it. They said the FCC did, but I think there's a trend back to that now because it gives a better show. So I would review the evening paper, and I would just say, well, I see that they're showing this movie on television tonight. It's only 22 years old, you know, and things like that. And that was a popular feature.
What were some of the problems that you ran into in trying to put on your show, put on your program? Just the mechanics of it.
There weren't any.
Everything was smooth sailing for it. And then after so long a time...
See, today almost everything is taped. In those days, almost everything was live. So that made a difference.
What, you think it helped with the immediacy, the
Yes,
excitement of it, or...
And then with taping, everything can go wrong, you see. The tape can be erased, the tape can be lost, it can be a bad tape. When I was on those early years, see, I've been an Alcoholics Anonymous member for 31 years now. But I was on KBOO then in the mornings, and I would tell how I would come to work and would go into the men's room and cry before going on the air because I was just a typical alcoholic.
What, and you just had that terrible feeling of depression?
Depression and drinking in the morning. And then I went into AA, and it's made all the difference in my life.
You just seem like the happiest person.
Well,
you come across
I owe all
that
my
way
happiness
on
to AA.
the air. And
I owe it
everything.
all to AA.
That's wonderful.
Everything I am, I owe to AA. I was asked to speak at the International AA Convention a year ago at Canada. The greatest thrill of my life. 5,000 people there.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and it was wonderful, wonderful. And Off the Sauce has now sold 700,000 copies. But, and it's a great thrill for me whenever in this bookstore, sometimes they're shaking in every corner. Every day the phone rings. I get to help someone. It's a great help. That's the greatest thing that's happened to me. But radio in those days, it was very wet. It was very conducive to drinking. There was a lot of drinking being done. Of course, and in this day and age too, it is, and all goes with the media. It
Well, I was
seems.
going to say, because so many of the people that I have interviewed in the newspapers, that was just one of the big, I mean, they were even doing that on the job a lot. It just kind of went along with everything.
Yes,
And
drinking was...
what people in Tulsa were heading marks on the city at that time? Were very influential in the city.
Well, Ralph Talbot, you know, downtown, he was a leading citizen. He owned all the theaters. I worked for the Talbot Theaters for about 12, 15 years. I did the movie reviews every day on the radio. Mr. Way, of course, was the manager of KBOO. Everybody liked him. I lived in Sepulpa until I was married. And that was about... 28 years ago, then we moved here. So I was really, you know, away from the Tulsa scene. I commuted every day.
How was Tulsa different then than it is now? Except besides all the growth that's obvious, but...
I think that today it's a much less interesting city because of the fundamentalist impact.
Explain what you mean.
The moral, the so-called morals today, you see, which stem from the all the church groups and all like that, you see, have strangled us, I think. You see, Tulsa, while I am an alcoholic, I think it's a disgrace that Oklahoma is the only state where you cannot go in and buy a drink of whiskey. It's a disgrace to the nation. Why? Because when there are 16 AA groups in Tulsa alone, you see. The point is they drink just as much here, but we're hypocrites when we bring our children up. That's what I mean. And just keep on going. no horse racing in Oklahoma, so they all go to Hot Springs and spend millions of dollars, and yet they breed the finest racehorses in the world in Oklahoma. This is just coming. This is something that it disheartens me terribly. The neo-moralistic, which isn't moralistic at all, the pseudo-hypocritical morals. That's a tragedy, and it grows every day. I lay straight at the door of these do-gooders. I'm in favor of do-gooders. They have a right to live the same as anybody else, but no more right than anybody else. And they are controlling the destinies. You know, you have to go really, we take very many trips. We go abroad and we go to other cities because you have to constantly to realize that Tulsa is not the world, you see. This is just a pimple on the face of the world in many ways. This beautiful, lovely city that I've loved all my life. And I see it going down, down, down with these people, and it's tragedy. If people want to be saved, that's great. But then the people who aren't saved have an equal right in this country, but they don't get it in Tulsa. That's the thing that really infuriates me.
Do you think it will change?
Never. It's getting worse. Don't you find so?
I keep on thinking that maybe they're going to get the votes through, even if they let it be a county option or something. That maybe that would be...
Well, there's the booze, there's the horse racing, there's the
there's
morals,
so many more
there's
aspects.
Yes, there's the movies, the censorship, you see, all of this. It's very bad, and it's much worse now than it ever was.
What is scary is the people that are trying to censor all sorts of school materials.
Oh,
and
well, they're doing it.
They cut parts out, and censorship is always scary.
Yes.
Because it can go...
Well, there's more of that now, and they do it because they can get away with it politically, that's all. That's a shame.
Where do you think...
in other words, living here is not as pleasant now as it was 30 years ago. I think you'll ask anybody that, and they'll tell you that.
How was it 30 years ago?
Very pleasant, extremely pleasant.
I mean, there wasn't so much
no, everyone
restriction.
You felt freer. And of course, if you're, I loathe hypocrisy in any way, shape, and form, and I always speak out against it. And now you see it so much of it based on the dollar, people who are using under the guise of morals, you know, and their church work to make money. It's tragic.
Where do you think radio is going in the future?
It's going to go right where it is right now, no farther. Just
do you think it will become obsolete, or?
No. Oh, no. I think the radio is getting more and more. I'd love to own a radio station now. No, but it's just for money. A money maker. They're money makers.
Well, do you think the programs will have a trend to go in another direction, or will it be like...
No, it's just going to be the same in the cities. The greatest advance in radio is the public radio on KWGS. Do you ever listen to that?
I don't think so.
Oh, you don't?
I don't even listen to the radio very often.
Oh, it's marvelous. KWGS is the university station, and they have national public radio. It's a national network.
What, and for student training and
oh no, it's the news and features and everything, and no commercials. It's marvelous. From 6 until 8 each morning, and from 4 until 5:30 in the afternoon. It's the greatest radio that ever was.
Well, you make me want to listen.
Well, it's FM. You know, you can get it on your car on your FM. If Channel 6 comes in on FM too on the car, on the lower left end. But National Public Radio is just great.
And it's what, mostly just news, music, sports?
No music.
No music.
Interviews, what's going on.
Well, that's about the only station that has that sort of thing, isn't it, then?
Certainly is.
Because it seems like mostly their music
well, there are a lot of talk stations now, too. See, I did talk. And once talk was out and rock was in, and I weathered that, then rock was out and talk was in. But it's all commercial. It's just how much they can make. Which is all right if you want to do it that way, but National Public Radio has no commercials. Then during the afternoon on that station, they play classical music. And they have the National Press Club meetings, and they have congressional hearings live from the Senate. It's marvelous.
So would you like to see more of that type of programming on all the stations?
Yes. It makes people more alert and they know what's going on. Do you realize that Have you heard these, for example, the CBS radio news, which comes on every hour?
Mm-hmm.
There's less than a minute and a half of news and almost 3 minutes of commercial. And that's, I was reading the other day, where Walter Cronkite is objecting to this in television too. All those commercials and so little. You just like reading the headlines in the paper, and that's all the news most people get.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true.
So it's got a long way to go. But then you come down to commercialism is who's going to fight it? Nobody. So I'm just now in a position. I don't practice law. I'm a member of the bar, but I don't practice law, and I retired to my little bookstore here. New York Times calls this one of the 40 best bookstores in America, and we have a marvelous business, and we have I do a volume almost equivalent to all the other bookstores in Tulsa combined, and it's just so heartwarming. I have a marvelous stock, So, and we are very. It's a personal bookstore, It's one of the few personal bookstores left, God, marriages are made here. You wouldn't believe. Children's schooling is taken care of here, and if we can't help, we find someone who can.
Yeah.
It's and it's just if you want to work, and everybody should work, it's a lovely way to live.
Well, I thank you so much for your time.
Well, I hope I helped.
Oh, you have.